Well, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you might be tuning into this. This is Spencer Uncensored, episode 103. 103. And I am thrilled that you're here. My name is Spencer Combs, and I believe that professional development, all the things that you want in your business, it's always going to come on the backside of personal development. The primary reason for that is because businesses don't typically or technically grow themselves. It's the people that grow. So I spend the greater part of 2 decades now. Actually, I have just crossed the 2-decade mark. 20 years I've been working on individuals and helping businesses, organizations through programs, workshops, all the things. We most recently have published our book, Momentum and Mastery. I've got that sitting right over here. Here, let me grab that. Momentum and Mastery. That came out recently. This is a really good guide. It says it right on the front, right? The Business Leader's Guide to Fast Track Unshakable Profit, Productivity, and Purpose. That's really what this is about. It's a manual where we literally go in through the art of the unshakable drive, and then we also discuss the science of mastery. Basically, there's a whole structure to this entire process, and the science of the unshakable progress. So that's what we do here. And if you're new to this group, I'm grateful for you guys to be here. You're more than welcome to drop questions in the comments. Let us know where you're coming from. I would love to hear from you. I'm going to do my best to make sure I respond to you along the way. Spencer Uncensored is a live show, so there's no telling what could happen. I could have technical issues. I've had rants before. I've gone off the edge before. And other times I've been super kind. So, but in any event, Spencer Uncensored, that's what it's about. Now, tonight, specifically, we're going to talk about reaching for your potential. And I've created an entire, what's the best word for it? Curriculum, I guess, or laid out the entire year. And so I have no idea what's going to be going on when these things happen through the year. I just went ahead and laid out all 52 weeks, right? Good to see you, Dan. Thanks for chiming in over on Facebook. Those of you that don't know, by the way, this is streaming live on Facebook. It's also on LinkedIn and also on YouTube. So you guys are welcome to go over to either one of those platforms, wherever you're getting this from. I would love to hear from you as we move forward. But anyway, the last couple of weeks, specifically last week, we talked about getting past the voice in our head, that little conversation that we're constantly having. Like, how do we handle that? What do we do with that? And today I want to talk about, we're going to get into this discussion of reaching for our potential and maybe some tips and ways to handle that. Let me get my notes brought back up over here. Maybe while I'm looking at this, drop it in the comments. Tell us a little bit about maybe a moment where you felt like I'm made for more than this. I know I can do better than this. I can specifically recall it was 2004. I was standing on, and I've had more than one occasion of this, but this one in particular, it stands out because I was standing in the middle of, I knew I was getting ready to have a divorce probably. Lots of things were going on. My business was at its peak, right? So I was in the real estate business down in Southwest Florida and had 6 buyer's agents, 2 administrators. We were crushing out business and doing a really good job. But it was just always all over the place. And I knew that I could do more, be more, have more. And so I was standing on the bank of the Caloosahatchee River. Every once in a while, I post that picture. I have it in different matter of fact, it is my background on my iPad. It's to remind me that I'm meant for more, always meant for more. We're gonna break that down a little bit more, but maybe you can drop a story in the comments for us wherever you're coming from, if you can remember a moment where you had that moment where you said, "That's it, I'm moving forward. I'm taking the next step. I made that decision." Anyway, while you're doing that, I'm just pointing out to you guys that coming up very soon here, you're going to start seeing some emails, calls, text messages, all that kind of stuff from me about the business reset. And I have increasingly found people struggling with the many aspects of the business, and they feel like it's constantly controlling them. Also, people get so far embedded in a rhythm that they don't take the time to work on their business, not just in it. And so because of that, we had actually created what was called the Unshakable Business Intensive. This is the workbook from it. Like all these pages came from that. And the feedback that I'd gotten on the intensive was that we should be, that I needed to spread that out. We needed more time for everyone to really get into it because it was a lot of information, a lot of heavy information in some places, lots of ahas, internal changes for people making decisions about what they're doing with their business. And then, but they needed more time to really implement all the conversation. So we took Unshakable Business Intensive, and thank you for the ladies that were at that first one. We did that together in the one day, and that was an intensive program. We took that, and we decided to spread it out. And so we're getting ready to do this with a 90-day program, 90 days for you to pick up your business and take control. I have laid out all kinds of stuff. This is all these little sticky notes on a yellow piece of paper. It's me designing and drawing it all out. I'm not just randomly going to drop this out for you guys. I'm doing my best to really flesh it out and make it where it's something extremely powerful. Because at the end of 90 days, I want people to feel very much in control of what they've got going on with their business. So enough of that. You didn't come here for that commercial. But since I don't have any sponsors, I'm sponsoring myself. Y'all good with that? Thank you. All right, let's talk about it. Potential. The first thing that comes to my mind when I think about potential and how we were made for more, I immediately, because of my scriptural and Bible background, right? Y'all can make fun of me as you want with my, because I got a foul mouth from time to time. But I am a Bible believer. I do go, I'm a Christian. It's not a hidden secret of any kind. And the first thing that comes to my mind is the scripture that says you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Now, I'm not going to make this a Bible lesson for the night. I just want us to stop and just remember we are way more than we see and act and do. Our potential is almost always way beyond where we're at. Consider this conversation. I should have probably pulled up in my notes here. I didn't take the time to do it. However, I will say this. I do know that the number of brain cells, just the cells of your brain that make up the apparatus that you are using on a regular basis to live your life, the number of brain cells is roughly about the same as the number of stars in the Milky Way galaxy. It's in the billions. You could go as far out as you want into space in the Milky Way, and it's expansive, massive light years of space. You have that many brain cells right here. The chasm between you and the size of the universe, and you could drill down into your mind, into your brain, the gray matter between your ears, and there's that much in there. You are uniquely placed in between those two places. I want you to understand you are a miracle in and of itself. Now, if we're looking to really get more out of ourselves and step up into a bigger place and get that inspiration, it's usually not that hard to get the inspiration that we talk about in Momentum and Mastery, okay? Step 1 is always dream. Step 2 is desire. And then we get into more of the desperation discussion of disturbance and then decision. But I'm going to tell you the 4 biggest detractors that's also in the book. So if you don't have the book, by the way, you guys need to go get the book. Here, let me put that on the screen so you guys can see the link. There's 4 forms of resistance that show up in our life that force us or stop us or slow us down from really seeing the dreams, the desires, the disturbances, and getting into the decisions. The first one is the demands. Spencer, I would love to do more. Maybe you're not saying it to me. Maybe you're saying it to yourself. I know I could do more, but man, I got to pay these bills. Man, I got to take care of this and I got to do this and do that. My wife and I were just having the conversation recently how we're at that age in our life where we have adult children and we have our parents. And we're in this weird spot where we have this sense of accountability or responsibility to both. Demands in life will very often create this resistance for you to feel like you can't really do anymore. I'm giving it what I can. Another form of resistance that shows up is distractions. Part of the reason why you can't focus for shit is because you're having a hard time with all the things that are coming at you. And I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to myself. It's not that hard. I get people messaging me with funny reels and TikToks and whatever on a regular basis. I have to actually stop myself from looking at that stuff. Just wait for the appropriate time. These distractions is a form of resistance that's going to keep you and me from reaching or even moving towards our potential. The third one is delusions. The third form of resistance is delusions. If you're not going to reach your potential, delusions might be the reason why. You have deluded yourself that this is all there is. You believe that what you have in front of you right now and the lifestyle you created is the best you can do. There have been times I remember when I was a kid that I thought going to Red Lobster was a fancy restaurant. Like Outback Steakhouse was like a big deal. Y'all know, you guys ever been there? That's a delusion, man. But until you've tasted a little bit better restaurant and you've had a better experience, you don't know any different. But you're delusional if you think that what you have right now is the best you can do. You have no other frame of reference. I used to think that certain kind of cars were top of the line until I saw cars like Aston Martins, Ferraris. Right? It might be a delusion that's keeping you from reaching your potential. Another form of resistance that shows up, and this one we really can't control, but those are the derailments in our life. Those are the surprise moments. Right? Me hitting a telephone pole head on. 2 plates, 12 screws in my arm. Right? Busted up knee. That'll take you off track a little bit. Right? Those derailments can cause a resistance towards moving towards your potential. If you're going to move out of it, number one, I will tell you the biggest thing that keeps people from moving out of it is not going through this whole process of building the momentum necessary, right? What we talk about with these 4 things. A dream. If you're not exposing yourself to a bigger picture, then you're going to struggle. You're going to always see the delusion of where you're at, right? You're going to always have this belief that the demands of life are just going to keep you where you're at. And you're going to be okay with status quo. You got to dream. 2, you got to have desires. But more importantly, you got to dig in as to what those desires are and why you want them. You got to really tap into the emotional reasons for all that kind of stuff. You have to get disturbed enough. Remember I told you the story of me being on the river? Yeah. I was disturbed. I was super disturbed. It's not the only time it's ever happened. But you got to get to that point where you get so disturbed that you decide, right? You got to get to that threshold that I've got to get it done. I must do it. It must be done now. And I'm the only one that can do it. Threshold then creates the decision. And once you have that decision, you're now at the threshold of commitment. The only reason you're probably not moving forward towards a bigger, better life If you're struggling with that, it's because you haven't actually committed to it. And a lot of people don't like to hear that one. I don't like to hear that one. Spencer, you haven't got to where you're at because you haven't been committed. I really just want to say F you to some of those people. Like, what are you talking about? You have no idea the amount of hours I've put into this. You have no idea what I've tried to, all the things I've worked on. What do you mean I'm not committed? I'm working hard. Shut up. It's not about just working hard. If you don't have the commitment, you're just working for the sake of working. If you're going to break free from whatever level of life you've got right now, the status quo, and you're going to defy the odds, well, then you're going to need to take a minute and pay attention to how to do that. How do I defy the odds? Number one, have a purpose. You must be committed to an outcome. What am I moving towards? What do I want? Make that decision. That's number one. Number two, I have to know my priorities. If I don't have any priorities, then everything's a priority, and I will forever just maintain status quo. At the expense and the exclusion of all these other things, I must focus on the priorities. That means that I'm going to have to focus on the plan. Focus on the standards. Once I got that in place, then I'm going to need to stay heavily focused on stepping into my power, which usually, that's a conversation around the accountability of owning my shit, right? Owning my resources, my time, my money, my technology, the people around me, right? Once you stepped into your power, then you can start doing the performance. But the performance is probably where you're going to have, where all these other conversations are going to start driving up in your head. And you're like, status quo, I'm okay with. No, you're going to have to believe. If you're going to have performance, you're going to have to believe in the process, believe in the system, believe in the rhythm. If you can't believe in what you're doing, you're not going to break free. You're going to maintain status quo because you're going to just fall back to whatever your current beliefs are. As you begin to perform, you're going to then be able to you're going to make progress, but progression really only happens when you are flexible in the feedback. Tonight, I just wanted you to get inspired. I wanted to remind you that you have a reason to be here. And if you don't know what that is and you can't figure it out, then I would challenge you to begin to dream a little bit, pay attention, get out of your current rut by exposing yourself to different environments, get around different people, see different things, change your physiology, go do something, go for a walk, change your state. Change the story you're telling yourself. Little conversation you got going on. We talked about that last week. You can go look at episode 102. You can go to SpencerUncensored.com. Go look that up. It's there. Or you can find it on the YouTube channel. Make sure I didn't leave anything out. Yeah, having an anchor goal. I did mention that. Having an anchor goal is super helpful with this. If you don't know what that is, you need to go get the book, MomentumandMastery.com. And having a rap process, rap sheet, that makes a difference too. Be clear on what you're doing. Be consistent about what you're doing, and make sure that the conditioning you're having. If you're here right now, by the way, it means you're interested in things that help you move forward. You want to defy the odds. So the conditioning aspect is a big deal. But I've said enough, guys. It's been 20 minutes. That's about all we do on Spencer Uncensored. I'd love to get your feedback, love to hear your stories. I'd love to know more about maybe that moment when you knew you were meant for more and you took massive action. You did something. Don't let the demands keep you from reaching your potential. Do not let the distractions. That's the cheapest one that just erodes people nowadays. Don't let the distractions. Don't let the delusions keep you where you are. And let the derailments happen every so often. Today I got a message from one of my clients who's out in Los Angeles. She said that the power got turned off. They're doing that to regulate because of the heat and or the fires and all that kind of stuff. So when we had our session yesterday, she had already planned in the event that they did. So when she told me today, the power got turned off. There's no pre-warning for them, by the way. Just power just gets turned off. So she knew that it was a possibility. So yeah, it happened today. And our response was, you were prepared. Those derailments, by the way, don't have to keep you from reaching your potential if you're flexible enough. So guys, keep moving forward. If you need something from me, maybe spend a few minutes journaling or writing down some things that you believe you could do more of and be more of and have more. And those of you that know what the 100 reasons why exercise is and you did it, you might want to go pull that out too. Go read your 100 reasons why. So with that being said, you guys, I'll give you your night back. Thanks for being here. Keep well, keep moving forward. And